Greetings and welcome to the Out of Noise podcast with your host Stella B and
Nat.
This is a podcast where we bring our peace
to the mic
and we welcome you back frequently to tune into our frequency. So we are currently discussing trending subjects. So what's been happening in the week, Nat?
Well, Nike has gone on a madness. Nike has gone on a mad thing. It's gone on a madness. Basically, they've decided to make the trans influencer. The name has just escaped me, but basically, their ad campaign for sports bra and sportswear is being pushed by, or they've made the lead of that, the ambassador, a trans woman, when there are so many women that could obviously do with that role, do with that paycheck and all them kind of thing there. And yeah, of course, this has sparked off another furore on social media and such, because it's another example of an invasion into women's space. If you want to, however you want to live your life, you can live your life however that is, but don't impede upon other people's rights and other people's privacy and other people's natural state of being. That's not your right. I don't have a right to enter into another human being's space and demand it and claim it as my own, and then point fingers at those that don't agree with that, especially those who are like, yo, ease up, back off. It's like, no, I have a right to be in your space because of my own outlook and definition upon the world. What's your thoughts, Stella, as this actually directly affects yourself as a woman?
I just think just create a separate lane. Like, this is what my thing has been the whole time. It's like, why don't you just create some products that are actually catered towards trans or non-binary folk? Like, just do that, like, and just do it proudly. Like, why do you have to, on the back of people being now excluded and left out, and people that have been fighting for centuries to be included in the mix are now just being turfed out by the trans community? And it's just, it's like, you know, there's only so much compensation that we can provide and only so much space that we can be giving, that unwillingly so, and, you know, to be fair to everyone and inclusive and all this kind of rhetoric that's not actually catering to or thinking about the very women that have been the most oppressed over centuries, as I keep saying. So it's not about now let's all keep warring against each other for these corporations, these giant monsters that are there just gaining money despite whichever way we turn. But it's about just being fair to a specific group, like the women, us, we do feel a way. We feel very attacked lately. We feel very attacked and very forced into moving into a whole new direction that we've not asked for. Is this, you know, it's very frustrating to me because our views, our perspective, we see things very clearly, it feels like. And if you just are just putting placements upon yourself, and then now you are the same as me. Okay, so all the experiences that I feel being born as natural women doesn't mean anything. Is what it that's what it reduces to. Reduction of a stew. That is what it reduces to. My experiences as a woman do not count or matter in this new age of accepting anyone can be what they claim they want to be, and that's it. And that means that in every single space, you, woman, have to accept this is the new thing. And it doesn't seem to be happening on the other foot. It doesn't seem that in every male space there are trans men invading. It's just a different energy, and it's kind of ironic because actually that's what women are like. We kind of have to kind of roll over and just take whatever is served us, you know, as women, as we're seen as the lesser sex, the lower sex, the you know, the ones who are stupid and don't have any opinions that count. No one wants to hear from you. Oh yes, little woman. The little woman syndrome is real. And so now it's like, even in the space where a trans man is now accepted as a man, they're not now invading those spaces of the men. They're not now demanding that they must be able to go into the changing room of a man. They're not making noise about that. Look, we deserve all these rights and and I find that very ironic, because it tells you exactly what's going on in terms of the other space, where it's like, well, now I'm a man and I deserve this. I'm sorry, now I'm a woman as a man and I deserve this and I want this and I demand this from you. I will take it. And that's been the very, very much the nature of the man in general. Like, I take what I want. And even in the trans world, that seems to be what the case is. It's like, let's make space for each other. So for me, it's like, Nike, just create a whole thing that was all about the trans community. Why are you designing it as a woman's wear when you could just be like, we are embracing and we are inclusive, so this is wear and sportswear for a specific group, and there should be nothing wrong with that. Everyone should be cool with that. Like, that is the balance. That is the common ground. That's the, let's compensate for one another's feelings. Let's do that. But at the moment, it's just like the trans community is just demanding this and then name calling people all these kind of acronyms that I can't even keep up with for having an opinion that should count. You know what I mean? And they're very violent. Some of the stuff I'm seeing is like very violent towards women.
Well, yeah, like, exactly. And to your point, trans men cannot, like, they pose no threat. And this is the physical differences do count. So as a man, changing rooms with a female that identifies as being a man, I mean, does it bother me that much? I don't know. Like, I think it's different. I just think it's different. Like, and certainly with sport, in combat sports, in boxing and MMA, you have weight divisions anyway. So you don't have lightweights fighting heavyweights. It's deemed unfair to in boxing and MMA, weight is taken very, very, very seriously. So if you are a middleweight or whatnot, and you both agree to fight at middleweight, it's very important that you both get into the ring at that same weight. It is deemed unfair if somebody comes into their, like, even 2 pounds heavier or 3 pounds heavier, let alone 5 or 10 pounds. Such is the physical differences accepted between weights. We accept those differences when it comes. So when it comes to other physical differences, it doesn't matter. Like, I can say this as a statement of fact. There is no trans man that could ever compete with the elite of men when it comes to boxing, or when it comes to athletics, when it comes to tennis, when it comes to certain particular sports. There is no competition there, because the physical differences make that much difference. So it can't happen the other way, and understanding or accepting that it can't happen the other way. Therefore, there should be a greater understanding for women wanting to protect their space. If you've trained your entire life for and dedicated yourself to become a champion of a sport, and then somebody who was unable to compete among their own gender now steps in and then starts winning everything, that is obviously going to upset a lot of women. And yeah, these voices, they're very particular, they're very specific. They don't speak up for the likes of Caster Semenya. They don't speak up for biological women who have got high testosterone. They don't speak up for the average. They don't speak up for them. But it is definitely to me very seemingly very anti-woman, ironically. And is there gender or not? I don't know. Like, if there is gender, then we accept it. If there isn't a gender, then how can you assume that there is a gender? That don't make any sense. It's a contradiction. And I feel like beyond even this conversation, I just feel like we're in a world of this pure madness and contradictions.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy amount of contradictions. So other trending news
is Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. The Labour Party, they've been basically, they put out a tweet that highlighted that they put out a tweet that basically put the Conservatives' record with paedophilia on blast, and they had a face of Rishi Sunak. And actually, the tweet is actually specified at Rishi Sunak. It's actually specified towards him. There's an image of him, and it's like, do you think paedophilia is or child abuse? Actually, there it is. You got it.
No, there's a different one. Because it's okay. So they've gone through a few different lists of things. So they've got: do you think an adult convicted of possessing a gun with intent to harm should go to prison? Then they've got do you think thieves should be punished? Rishi Sunak doesn't. And then the paedophile one is: do you think adults convicted of sexually assaulting children should go to prison? Rishi Sunak doesn't.
And then the bit underneath that.
So the bit underneath reads: under the Tories, 4,500 adults convicted of sexually assaulting children under 16 served no prison time. Labour will look up dangerous child abusers. So their campaign is that we're going to lock up the evil paedophiles that are out there, while Conservative Party aren't.
I mean, yeah. So that issue is rife.
About
yeah, there's a serious problem of paedophilia that's been going on for a very long time in this country. A long time after he died, Jimmy Savile has been put as the sort of old face attached to it, and then you have the Andrew, Prince Andrew, who's obviously been caught up through the whole Epstein implications and such. And before Andrew, there was the paedophilic ring that came out that we learnt about many years ago now. The police around that time said they stopped doing investigations because it was just so rife, or they had hit a limit of investigations because it was just so rife. There is a serious problem with paedophilia in this country, and in fact globally. And the problem with Labour and what they're doing is that we know it's just all politics. We know Keir Starmer is proven not to be a good human being. The way he has gone about treating the members of the Labour Party, this is people who vote. The way he's gone about treating them, the way he's gone about treating Jeremy Corbyn, who was definitely for the people, has shown him for who he really is. So I have no faith, and I have no faith in. I come from the perspective of politics is just theatre. It's just a big grand theatre, and when we see it on the media, it just operates as a huge distraction from what's really going on. What's your take, Stella B?
For me, it's like they built a whole bunch of prisons, okay, and they're going to start filling them up one way or another. So this angle is very interesting, and it would be interesting to see how many Labour Party people, as well as the Conservatives, I've invested in the brand new spanking new prisons that are here and dotted even in Jamaica that they've invested in, because this sudden we are all about the crime rate. Like, he's doing a few different talks where he's talking about it, knife crime, this, that. So I'm a bit like, okay, this is interesting, because they don't actually care about the stuff they talk about. It's always just about hyping up whatever angle that can get the people moving towards whatever their intention is. So clearly they want to start putting more people in prisons, maybe have another policy where it's like even increased stop and search and do this and do that. And now we really care about the paedophiles that we've been letting roam free. But actually, people like Keir Starmer have been given some receipts saying, oh, but you, in a time where you could have done something about Jimmy Savile, you didn't do anything. So they don't actually care is the bottom line when it comes to these things. They really don't care. So that's my thoughts on it. Let's pause there. So like I was saying, I think they're just going to gear up for like this new kind of hard, criminals are going to jail and all this kind of stuff. But really, yeah, it's it's all fake. It's all fake. Like I don't know what Keir Starmer actually is, other than a. It's like a new Blair. He just reminds me of Tony Blair back in the day. Like he's anti everything that Labour Party is supposed to be about, but it's all politics and it's all politics. None of it is actually real.
It's not real. It's all politics. Because basically, I'll just say one last thing on this. Like, politicians are meant not to be liars as we accept it in the society. We accept, oh, they're liars. Like, what? These are people that's supposed to represent the people. Represent the people. So when they are continuously, you know, the notion of career politician. The notion of a career politician and what it means to get into positions where you are responsible for people and you're doing things against the people, then you shouldn't be a politician. Do something else. There's certain roles that shouldn't be for quote unquote ambitious or ambitiously selfish people, and being a politician is not for them.
Yeah, completely. It's like so many of these career politicians, they'll mess up somewhere. They'll mess up somewhere and then immediately they're just placed in a whole different industry at the top, just helping each other out, all the lobbying and all this kind of, it's just shady, man. And the very last thing on their thoughts, those type of people, is the actual people. So that's why they're willing to take massive bonuses. And when you think about it in that way, all these kind of bonuses, they're briberies, they're forms of like control over these. Sorry?
Politicians don't get bonuses.
No, but they get all this. They do get bonuses, no?
Bankers get bonuses.
Rises in their wages every year. They get very decent wages, and there's incentives, is what I'm saying. They're very much incentivized to be politicians, specifically the career politicians. When they look into how much Boris and others who have been former prime ministers or former MPs of certain areas, and maybe they've been in a cabinet, when they're going around touring or being guest speakers, when they look into how much money that there is forked out per time that they go to talk, it's ridiculous. And you know, I just feel it's been a lifelong problem. I just remember being a child and hearing about all of this, because I remember David Blunkett, I believe he was one of the ones that didn't come from privilege and ended up in a position of power, and it was like a shift in that kind of thing. So yeah, I think politicians, they're supposed to be people led, people first, and then because I don't think obviously people should have ambition, but your ambition as a politician should be about the people. Like, I want to have a legacy where I actually changed people's lives for the better and the greater good, and I was part of ending war in the world, and you know, weaponry and all this kind of stuff. Like, people should be their drive if they want to be in the heads of states arena. So the last thing we want to talk about today on the trending subjects for Out of Noise is, and if you're enjoying this episode, it's been a very light one, but if you're enjoying it, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share this video. But yeah, the last thing we want to mention is what? Oh yeah, we want to talk about us. We want to talk about our project. We want to talk about NFTs. We want to bring back that subject to people that are following us and listening to what we've got to say. So we've got an exciting couple of weeks ahead. We've got a few things to get done. So let's share a little bit of that, just a little.
Yeah, so what's trending for us? And it's funny, I was chuckling when Stella said light, because the topics we've gone through are not light. So if that's light for us, boy, you lot are really on for a ride. And it is, actually. You really are in for a ride. Out of Noise began as an event, and it was an event that was for artists and all forms of artists to express themselves in whichever way they see fit. So that media might be through poetry, might be through song, it might be through prose, it might just be a speech that you want to express. That was the platform that we enabled live every single month in Ritzy's Brixton. We used to do that. So we are artists, we are poets, people of extraterrestrial substance. So when we are doing our podcasting thing and we host as well, we do all these different type of things, it may be lost that we are actually artists ourselves. So we've been exploring the Web3 realm, crypto, NFTs and such. And now we've got in terms of what's trending for us, is we're going to be working on, or we are currently working on delivering our first NFT. And it's going to be on the Stacks blockchain, which is essentially a layer 2 to Bitcoin, the original blockchain. And we're going to deliver a song. So if you haven't heard before, then if you type in Dreams Project or Nat9 Dreams Project on YouTube, you will see a collaboration between Stella and myself and the dope producer Dem Drums. We create poetry, we create music. This is what we do. So we're going to be putting together a song, and it's going to be a part of our first NFT as a part of a compilation from the being curated by the number one platform as well. So shout out to them, shout out to Nat Cole as well. But yeah, shout out to the artists out there that are seeking different ways and means to maximize out of their output. And that's what NFTs represents to me. So there's like with everything else, even the trending topics that we go over and discuss, you have what's trending, which is the headline. And then when you actually dig deeper, there's a lot more to it. So people have association with NFTs with the JPEG images, and they think that is what an NFT is, when it's not. NFT is actually a digital proof of ownership. That essentially is what it is. The NFT is the digital proof of ownership of an asset. So a non-fungible token is what an NFT stands for, and the non-fungible aspect refers to the asset. So if I cannot replace this house that we live in with another house 1 for 1, because they're not this exact same. It's not like you have £1, can I get another £1, or if I've got a £5 note, can I get £5 coins off you? It's not like that. It's got its own value. It's got its own it's got its own value. It's got its own. It's a unique asset. It's a unique asset. That's what it is. Yeah. So that's what an NFT is. An NFT, you're gonna have to do a lot of editing. Way, it's a lot of work. NFT. I've said it anyway, but just for a clean one. NFT is a digital proof of ownership. I was going to say asset.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's okay. NFT is a digital proof of ownership that refers specifically to assets. As artists, we create assets. That's what we do. We create intellectual and artistic or creative assets. They are of value. They, of a certain standard, they can have a timeless value. And as artists, we seek to create assets. We create assets and we seek to create them. That's what we do. So we now have an opportunity where we actually get to put value upon those assets rather than ceding that power to a nefarious industry that tells you that it's worthless unless it's got commercial viability, and those commercial viabilities is dictated essentially by them and accepted by a mass of people, which is why it happens in its first place, all the issues that we have. But now with NFTs, we get to empower ourselves. So yeah, we're excited by this opportunity. The number one platform has afforded it to us. We're going to deliver the song, and then it's going to propel us into launching and releasing several more projects as NFTs.
Excellent. Yes. So we're doing a lot of things, guys. Remember, the boss movement is still upon us. We are bosses, and we are teaching about Black owned success shared. So under the umbrella of all the things we do, the Out of Noise podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. It means so much as we grow this empire. And we also have our artistic endeavors, which is just so vast. We've got so much that we want to put out into the world and help shift things to the direction of where it should be. So we've got that. So the NFT project that we're about to kick off or be a part of is so exciting. So yeah, tune in for that. More information as we bring it to you. And we're going to end there for this week's Out of Noise. Thank you so much.
Yes, big up. If you enjoyed this episode, then tune into the others if this is your first time. Like, subscribe, comment if any of the topics that we discussed touched you and you just need to express, or we urging you to express. Please do comment wherever. We're not a echo chamber here. We do welcome opposing views as well. So if you have opposing views, whatever your view may be, please do leave it there, and we'll respond to you in as soon as we can.
Accordingly.
And buy us a coffee if you really did enjoy it, because buying us a coffee make us take this to a whole nother level.
And check out our apparel. It's in the link in the description below as well. Do check out some clothing that you can purchase for your leisure. Thank you. See you next time.
All right. See you next time. Respect. Peace.